Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Hot Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, the Hot Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about a very weird encounter that occurred with me almost 24 hours ago now is what it was, here at the apartment. And I don't know what the fuck was going on last night. It was just really, really weird. Like, I don't know if it was, like, actual people or if I experienced, like, a ghost encounter here or what was going on. But basically, that's what this video is going to be about today, what it is. So last night I was sitting here and it was about 3-ish in the morning, give or take. I was just doing stuff and whatnot because, I'm awake, obviously, at this time is what it is. And it was around 3:27 or 3:28. I ended up turning off my light here. And within a minute or so of that, the woman across from me still has her outside light on, so it is there. So I heard a dude talking to another dude, I think, and all of a sudden, like, right where let me just try to show you guys this, actually. So, right there is where my blinds are, and the window is and stuff, and so I saw, like, two figures, basically, going across the blinds, and I was like, that's pretty weird, because I'm like, where did these people come from, basically, because I didn't hear any doors open, and, like, I would have thought if they were my neighbor guy having some dude over, whatever the case be, that it would have been me hearing his door open, because we're close enough to each other apartment-wise that if my door, he opens his door in the middle of the night or whatever, we can hear it, basically, because it, like, shakes the entire, like, building the way these units are built, basically, is what it is. And, yeah, it was just really weird, but, yeah, just, like, sort of showed up out of nowhere is what it is. And then what was even weirder was my camera that I have on the door that doesn't really seem to go unless you open the door is what it is. But then I have another camera here in the actual apartment that is pointed directly at the door about 4 feet from it is what it is. And if they was actually people walking on the sidewalk, then there should have been a shadow cast from that woman's light outside, and it should have caught them on the infrared is what it is, but it didn't. So I don't know if I heard actual people outside at 3:30 in the morning, or if it was, like, some random ghost activity here is what it is, but it really fucked me up, honestly, for, like, almost a day now is what it is, because it was just so weird and random. And like I said, like, and what was even weirder to me was I was thinking about it more and more over the fact and stuff like that. I was like, okay, so let's see, these were, like, random people. Like, where the fuck were they walking to? Because the fact of the matter is, the way that this building is built, you have a sidewalk going out of my apartment and out that way to the right, and then you go around the building and you go over to the parking lot that is there. And it's the same thing with the guy behind me, his unit. If you go outside of his door, you go to the left by about 3 or 4 feet, and then there's another sidewalk that goes and wraps around and goes to that part of the apartment for his 2 parking spaces, or that's what it is. So I don't know if people were legally parking in my spaces last night, or if it was just like some randos, basically, that were, like, fucking around in my complex, basically, in the middle of the night is what it is. So, or like I said, if it was just ghost activity at this point, honestly. But yeah, it just weirded me the fuck out, honestly. And I kind of wanted to bring up on Honda's chat last night, but unfortunately it became a whole, him debating Yankee Marshall and then Charlie Kirk debate again is what it is, which I'm fine with. We can keep talking about it, obviously. It's something that should be talked about more and more, obviously, so we don't go into, potential political violence in this country is what it would be then. But I really wanted to bring this up because, like I said, it just it put me in a weird headspace is what it is. And like I said, I think the weirdest part of the fact is, like, that nothing recorded on my camera then until I moved in front of it myself, and then it recorded me, obviously, a couple minutes after that. And I'm just like, yeah, this is really strange. Like, why would this not have, like, because there should have been shadow casting at least where it recorded that. Because, like, that's this thing too. Like, I can literally turn on that pen light over here, and it'll be enough in this room, like, no matter what it is, that it'll actually start that camera up, basically. So the fact that there was, like, no movement around my door, I think is what it is. It's like, were these people? Were these ghosts? Like, I'm so confused with what it is. So, yeah, like, it just weirded me the fuck out, basically. And I don't know. Maybe it's the trains. Maybe it's all the trains that are just driving me completely insane, and I'm just like going multi-dimensional or something at this point, honestly. Because that's what I kind of thought for a sec. I was like, wait a minute, did I just like enter like another dimension or something? Like this is fucking strange. So, but and I was trying to look up stuff last night around this area to see if there's any like people that died in the area, like young kids or whatever. Like, because I'm not sure who. Like, and then again, it could have also been the dude across. Like, I know that the woman that lives right across from me in that apartment unit is what it is. There's a father and two kids living. The one next to her is what it is. And I'm kind of wondering if that dude's son wasn't sneaking out with a buddy or whatever the case may be. That's what I heard last night. But I still would have thought I would have heard their door opening is what it is then. So, I don't know. It just felt very weird is what it is. And like I said, the fact that it was like right around 3:30 in the morning that this happened, obviously, is like, was these some kids trying to do like some door kicking shit or something like that and trying to do that stupid TikTok thing again or whatever the case be? Because it got me riled enough to where I was like, arming up at that point, obviously. So thankfully nothing happened out of it, obviously. Like, but it just, like I said, just weirded me out that you like have like random people like talking. You can see like the shadows outside of the blinds from that woman's ambient light is what it is. And then all of a sudden it was like they just sort of disappeared before they hit my doors what it is then, which is kind of hard to disappear though, because you would have almost had to like walk off the sidewalk and into like the grassy like middle there is what it is to not be caught on camera. So yeah, it's just really, really weird in general. And the fact of the matter is, like I showed you guys where that blind is over there. It's two different blinds, two different windows. It's like a pull apart window basically. There's two blinds on it there, and then there's maybe like 2 or 3 feet or so of wall there, and then it's my actual door to my unit is what it is then. So like they basically would have had to almost immediately, as soon as they walk past into that blind spot between the wall and between the door and the window, they would have had to like walk off basically to not be caught on camera. So that's if they were human at all and they weren't, like I said, some fucking like ghost or something like that's what it is. So I don't know. What this really comes down to being is stop fucking around outside of my apartment at 3 o'clock in the morning, people. Seriously. Because I don't fuck around like that. And like I said, it would be one thing. Like I could understand it if it was like all the parking lot over here. Like if there was like one space per unit and then it was like 2 or 3 units, each got like a space or whatever. But the fact of the matter is I was looking up this place actually last night after that fact to see exactly how many different 4-person units there are. Here's what it is. And from my understanding, there's 8 of them here. So there's a total of 32 apartments for rent here in this place. And it's like 4 apartments per, like basically house that was divided into 4 apartments. I think is what it is there back in the 80s or something. And so you have the people that live in the first one. There is a parking lot that has 8 spaces on that side for them because it's 2 spaces apiece. There's a parking lot set on this side of 8 spaces that are 2 for mine, 2 for the guy next to me, or 2 for the guy behind me, 2 for the guy that lives like directly across that way, and then there's 2 for the other guy that lives on the 4th unit is what it is there. And the same thing over here, you have another parking lot that goes back here behind like where my unit, where my unit sits, the guy that lives behind me here is what it is. It's behind his that there's a little bit of grass, and then there's like another parking lot that's like much larger. And I believe it's like 2 spaces for each person there, and it's about like maybe like 16 or 18 spaces or whatever. And it's for each one of those apartments. Like those apartments they're directly across from mine right now. That's where their parking places are, and that one back there. And I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, like there should have been no reason for people to be walking, past my door and like over that way to go potentially to like a vehicle, because that's not their, parking places. They would be literally parking in my spaces what it is then if that be the case. So, or somebody else's for that matter. But yeah, just like I said, it just weirded me the fuck out really. And I thought for a minute it was somebody just going and getting like a drink or something like that. But then I was looking into it, and the closest gas station around here is like a 20-something minute walk is what it is. So yeah, it just really like the whole thing just weirded me out is what it was, and hope it didn't happen again. But then I also noticed too today when I heard the dude behind me talking to somebody. I looked outside and there was some white woman out there that looked like she was like pretty much either a recovering addict or a straight up meth head is what it was, and was battling on with him about some shit. So I don't know if maybe this guy's dealing or something behind me or something. And he's like, it was people that were like buying from him last night or some shit. Like, I don't know, man. I would hope that's not the case. I don't think that's the case, but who the fuck knows? I mean, I did catch him stealing my fucking electricity a couple weeks ago, so it was then. So would I be surprised if he was trying to do that so he could grow a fucking, something in his unit or something like that, like hydroponics or something? No, wouldn't surprise me at all, honestly. And it would make logical sense to jack other people's electricity then, because you would be doing that for your own thing there, so that you're not having like some crazy electric bill yourself, and you don't have like, the meter readers coming out there and being like, that's weird, that's like way more than that guy should be using or whatever. And they're reporting it to the cops or something like that, or reporting it to the landlord, even for that matter. So, yeah, it just weirds me out. Really, I'm just at the point right now where I just kind of want the landlord to evict this motherfucker and be done with it, obviously, because it was him that was the one that was stealing my shoes when it was done. So I don't think he's going to do it, though, because he's a bitch. So basically, I got to wait for my lease to run out, which is going to be, like I said, not next April is what it'll be, and then it'll be finding a different place before then and like, getting the fuck out of here is what it is then. Which I know for this guy, I believe the way he was talking was it would run out in probably either January or February. So unless he goes month to month after that or signs another lease or whatever, then it would be him basically having to move. That is what it is. So I don't know. It depends on what happens there. But like I said, it's just very like, I don't like having to live on the edge is what it is. And I feel like that's exactly what I'm having to do with living here now is what it is, because of everything that's happened in the past couple of weeks now is what it is. So like I'd rather just be back in my old family home is what it is right now, and just living there is what it would be then. Because at least there I know is like relatively safe is what it is. But yeah, as it is, the Stark County Sheriff's Office never did recover my MMP 1522, so that's why I'm trying to talk with State Rep Tex Fisher right now to introduce legislation where it would allow for people like me that have had our firearms stolen, if the cops don't find it like enough time or whatever, that we can just file a claim against the stuff for the price of it with the state government is what it is. And then we get reimbursed from that, obviously. If the gun is ever found, then it would just become state property at that point. Then they can do what they want with it then. If they want to sell it and have people buy it off of like a sheriff's sale or whatever the case be or whatever it is there. Or if they even want to destroy it, like that's up to them at that point. Because truthfully, the fact of the matter is, like, having that gun not be in my possession for almost 4 years now is what it is. Wait, is it just now? No, not, yeah, no, I think that would have been, wait, was it 2021 that happened? Or 2022? I think it's 4 years now. I think it's just over 4 years, because I think it was July of 2021 is what it was then. Yeah, because it would have been July 2021 because my uncle was still alive then is what it was. And I know he died in November of 2021 is what it was then. So, yeah, so it'd be just over 4 years now that they still haven't found that gun. It's like 4 years and like 2 months or something. That's what it is now. So, the fact of the matter is, though, even if they found it right now, I wouldn't even want it back. I'd want like just the money to buy another one. Is what it is then, because I don't know. The fact of the matter is, with me having bought that, 22 brand new is what it is. I basically knew the exact round count that was through that gun, and exactly what ammo was put in, like exactly what kind of 22 rounds were put through it, whether it be, Remington or Federal, whatever the case be. And I had like an exact round count for each one of those, is what it is there, and knew exactly what was good and what was bad, and like what that would basically is what it is, which pretty much everything is what it seemed like. Some better than others, obviously. But yeah, like I don't know how many rounds have been put through in the past, 4-something years now is what it is, or if it's even functioning anymore. It could be, I'm giving back an operable firearm at that point then. And, I don't know if that wasn't using the crime at this point, honestly. Like, obviously, it wouldn't have been using the murder for that matter. Like, it would have to be them finding it through, like, some dude making, like, drug deals or something like that, and it's just, like, sitting in the corner of a room or something like that then probably. But, I don't know. I feel like they definitely fucked up, though. The sheriff's office and everybody else for that matter, and dropped the ball on that one, because especially when you had the time of events that happened there where you had people, it was that June, they had stolen our catalytic converter off our van, and then it was July, we had the home invasion / home robberies what it is there. which would have been home invasion. Had been home that day, obviously, but it wasn't because it was just robberies. What it is then, where they kicked the back door in, and then it was in August where I used to live there. It would have been the house directly across from ours, on their side of the street. It was the house next to theirs that they were renting out, like a loft of a garage to some dude, and that dude was caught for doing money laundering and drug possession with like intent to distribute and stuff like that. And so they never actually questioned that guy if it wasn't like one of his people that stole that rifle to make like amends or whatever. And obviously they never found the rifle over there. So my guess is it was either the two guys that broke in that day either stole the gun and sold it to pay off debts to that guy, maybe for like drug debts owed or whatever it was, or potentially it was they gave that dude the rifle and he basically sold it to somebody else to make the drug debt, gone at that point, basically. So I don't know, but I feel like I said, like it's been over 4 years. I feel like the sheriff's office 100% just dropped the ball on that one, which you would think, truthfully, like when it comes to like firearms crime, like that should be like the top of the list to solve those crimes, obviously, man, because like you don't know if that gun's going to come up in a future homicide and stuff like that. So, or even just like a bunch of robberies and stuff like that for that matter. But yeah, like I said, it really just bothers the shit out of me, honestly, and like it's very much like disappointing that it's been over 4 years now and they still haven't found the stuff. As it is, the things that I've gone through right now, I still have yet to find my my big old display of coins that I was given by my cousin, which I'm pretty sure were stolen in the bin of stuff by that guy and that gal that day at the house when we still had the for sale sign up, is what it was then, about the house being sold. Which, if I had thought better of that, I had this inkling in my head back then, because it was up for like days after that or whatever, or days before that or whatever. And I was going down to get the mail one day, and I was like, I should just take this down and just like set it on the grass or whatever, because I think that's exactly what it was. I think these people were robbers and potential home invaders, as it is then, this guy and gal combo, and the dirty blonde, and then this dude or whatever the case be. And I believe that they were basically casing the place as it is. And it's interesting that my cousin, he had taken a bunch of different totes and stuff out to the garage that day. And within like a half hour of that, these fuckers show up as what it is. So, and like I said, the garage was like, it was all the way down to begin with, the door was, and all of a sudden it was like cracked open about that much, give or take. Unfortunately, they jumped in their little shitty red, I believe it was a little Ford, like F-150 or whatever. It had a bunch of like junk in the back of it then, which I'm pretty sure that guy did steal a tote out of the back there and threw it in the back is what it was. And that's what I kind of like saw at the corner of my eye when I went out the thing. That's one thing where I really wish I had cameras up at that point then. Because if I had my own cameras outside there, I could have easily gotten, video evidence and then potentially stealing the stuff or whatever. And then had the shit just sent to the prosecutors or whatever, or sent to the sheriff's office, and then they could have sent to the prosecutors what it is. They found the people or whatever then. Or, like put an actual bolo out on these people or whatever the case be, like, hey, these are thieves in the area that stole these things. Like, so it just pisses me off because, like I said, if they did in fact steal that that display piece of coins, those were not cheap coins, dude. Like the combined value of the stuff that was in that coin thing was at least grand theft at that point. It was at least like $500 for the shit, honestly, that was in there. That my cousin had made up at the display back in like the 90s or whatever it was. So it does piss me the fuck off, honestly, because the fact of the matter is there was like an 1880s Morgan silver dollar in that one, and like some barber dimes and stuff like that is what it is and whatnot, because it was like different coins over like the centuries and stuff like that. And yeah, it just really pisses me off. And the thing is, it's not like it was like, like it's not like you're gonna take it into a pawn shop and it'd like a dime a dozen thing. Like that was something that was like distinctive as fuck at that point, to where if the sheriff's office had done their job there and even put out like a thing to like little pawn shops and been like, hey, have you seen somebody try to bring this in, or whatever the case be, they could have caught people immediately at that point then, obviously, with like theft and whatnot. So, and I guarantee I was not the first person they robbed, obviously, potentially. So anyway, same thing with the gun people is what it is. But yeah, just like I said, it just absolutely pisses me off, dude. And I'm just kind of over all of it now, and like especially with last night, the fact that you had like random people around here then. So I don't know if they were waiting for me to turn my light off and then like just walk past or what it was, but it was just like, it's so weird. And like I said, the fact that there was like no, I'm trying to say this now. The fact that my light, or the fact that my camera did not go on then, and potentially catch anybody out there, like really weirds me the fuck out is what it is. So I don't know if that camera just like wasn't functioning properly at that time, or if it just like, if it was like ghosts or spirits or whatever the case be, it's kind of like, you know, poofed out basically at that point. So I thought my sister about it too, and she was like, yeah, that is really weird that your camera wouldn't have caught, you know, some kind of motion is what it is then. So I don't know, man. It's just really, really odd in general. And it really freaked me out, like I said, because, you know, when you got random people like stumbling around your door at like almost 4 o'clock in the morning is what it is then. Like between 3 and 4, obviously. It's like, yeah, it's, you know, that's the exact time that you would have like home invasion stuff or them doing like the felony door kick shit is what it is now or whatever. So I don't know, man. It scared the shit out of me, obviously, though. But like I said, it just like, yeah, it just bothers me in general. So, but hopefully it won't be an issue for too much longer because, like I said, come, let's see, it's September now, so we got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 6 months and some change right now before I have to go either find another place or like re-up my lease here as what it is, or do like month to month here or whatever. Then, and like I was telling my sister, depending if me talking to the landlord and being like, hey, I'm not going to re-up the lease for another year or whatever, but I'll do like month to month. Is it going to be the same amount for the next month or so? Or are you going to try and up my rent at that point, obviously? So if he would just do it like month to month for like a month or two, then like I would potentially wait until like May or June potentially then to go and, well, what I'd probably do actually is I would probably, since I am technically registered at this place right now, I'd probably wait through May and maybe even through June for that matter, just to have like primary season basically next year. And then that way I don't get to like re-register someplace else or whatever it is, and not be able to maybe vote for that matter in the 2026 election then for the case. And then maybe like come like June or whatever, then I move to, you know, a different place or whatever then. So, and then that way it would be not an issue because then I would have, you know, the ability to go out there and technically legally vote as a biz then for governor's race and everything else for that matter. So, and by the way, I'm going to call out Frank LaRoche real quick before we go today because him as Secretary of State, he needs to completely kick Elliot Forhan out of the fucking race for HE right now is what it is, dude. Forhan in the past couple days has gone anti-Charlie Kirk rant and stuff like that. But on top of all that, you had about 2 years ago now, it was Elliot Forhan, Marina Abduli, and I think about 7 other Democrats in the state back in 2023. They were on legislation that was trying to basically make child predator laws in favor of child predators is what it was, where you could basically have any stranger lure a kid into a car and drive off with them with no consequences. And like, I don't understand how that was not an immediate termination from office at that point, obviously. But yeah, like Forhan needs to kick the fuck out of the AG's race as what it is in 2026. There's what it is. The guy is I know for a fact he's anti-Christian. Him and Abduli actually almost came to blows over like Judaism versus Muslim stuff or whatever at one point in the last year or so, to the point where the Democrat Party here conjured his ass as what it was for that stuff. And yeah, like this dude just needs to go. He's a fucking problem. He is a complete piece of shit, and he's a fucking criminal, honestly, in my opinion. And I believe, truthfully, when I say my opinion, I mean like my opinion as it comes to how state laws interpret at this point. Like he should be arrested for various crimes, is what it is then, and so should these other people involved for that matter too. So it's really just time to kick these fucking Democrats out of office permanently, is what it is then, and tell them to fuck off forever, is what it is then, with different regular control law charges and stuff against their asses. Because both Forhan and Abduli were on anti-gun legislation in the past General Assembly too, for that matter. So, and of course we had moron Peggy Flanagan, who is the current lieutenant governor of Minnesota. She was the crazy bitch that was wearing the old protect trans shirt or protect trans kids shirt with the big ass knife on it. And now she's going on a whole weird ass tirade thing in the last day or so here with her eye-voted earrings. Like, what a complete fucking nut, dude. So, okay. I'm not going to bring that part up, but I will bring this other text up right now. Because you also got, Flanagan basically trying to blame white guys for all these crimes and stuff like that. And then people were regularly pointing out stuff like this right here, where it is them trying to do some queer resistance lecture, and it's some crazy Islamic bitch holding a fucking AK is what it is. So, then you got other stuff here too, like Democrat Socialist Party of Violence. Winston Churchill on left wing fascists of the future will call themselves anti-fascists. Not if that's actually a direct quote or not. And then we got, for those who like to refer to Charlie Kirk as a fascist, just so you know, assassinating people who think differently than you is peak fascism. And that's very true, honestly. So, anyway. But yeah, it's almost 1 a.m. and I gotta get some sleep though, because I'm fucking tired. So, I'm gonna try to nod off for a while and then get up later and do some stuff or whatever then. Like potentially take a shower and whatnot. Yeah, actually, before we go, that's somebody posted it down further in the comment section here, where it was Peggy Flanagan's crazy ass wearing the Protect Trans Kid shirt with a big ass fucking fixed plate on it is what it is there. This person saying, "Thank God for the single photo that will keep you from ever serving public office again." Something Flanagan said, "Now in helping you find your next line of work, repeat the following: knock knock, Avon calling." That woman is so fucking ugly, dude. Like she looks like she honestly looks like a goblin or something, dude. Like a what do you call those things now? Like the weird troll things from Ernest Scared Stupid and shit. Like she kind of reminds me of those things, honestly. Oh, you know what she actually reminds me of? She reminds me of the Witches from I think it was 1990. There was a movie called The Witches. She kind of reminds me of the witch chicks is what it is. With like the big nose and stuff, like all she has to do is take the glasses off and like her hair like pulls back or whatever, and she got like the bald head and like the crazy like witch things, whatever it was there. Like she totally looks like a witch, dude, honestly, from that movie. So I really didn't like the remake of that because it was just stupid, honestly. I don't think I ever watched the entire thing all the way through. I think I watched like 90% of it was, and yeah, like it was just dumb because like at least with the original, you had like the woman that was like the underling or whatever for the main like villainous chick, who then became like a good witch at the end and like turned the kids back into humans from being mice and stuff. Whereas in the other version that they remade by Disney like 5-6 years ago, whatever it was there, like 2019, 2020, somewhere in there, maybe 2021, somewhere in there, the dude was still like a mouse at the end of the movie is what it is. And like so were a bunch of other people too, for that matter. So, yeah, it was kind of disappointing, honestly, on that one. But that's the problem when it comes to like remakes and stuff like that. It's never as good as the original, what it is, and it never has a truly happy ending. It's just like a weird, like, what the fuck is this kind of a thing. There's what it is. So, but yeah, I really wouldn't be surprised, like, when it comes to like witchcraft and stuff like that, and like demonism and things. I really wouldn't be surprised if there was a lot of sitting females in government positions right now that are actually practicing witchcraft is what it is. They're in part of covens and stuff, like specifically in Michigan there. When it comes to Gretchen Whitmer, Dina Nissel, and Jacqueline Benson, they look like they would be like a trio of coven at that point, dude. So, and like maybe have like Garland Gilchrist there as like a warlock or something, that little coven of theirs or whatever it be then. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I truly do believe, like, a lot of the stuff that we've seen come out of Hollywood in the last, like, 20 years or so, when it comes to stuff like Charmed and Supernatural and stuff like that, like, some of that shit actually is legit. And you have people, like, doing this practicing of things, and, like, whether it be practicing witchcraft, whether it be practicing, like, dark arts, demon possession, vampirism, even for that matter, could exist out there. And I mean, we know Bigfoot and other cryptids exist, obviously. So it's like, yeah, you could easily have it be, just like random shit like that. Obviously, like Dogman's a thing up in Michigan, and I think even here in Ohio in some places. Not to mention like all the other states around here too. Like I've had Dogman and Bigfoot sightings all the time is what it is. And then I guess from watching that Nate Renner's podcast a couple months ago is what it was. In the past like month or two they've talked about it, and they said how it was I'm trying to remember now. I think it's some part of the Appalachians, but I could be wrong about that one. Maybe it was like one of the Carolinas or something. There was supposedly like an encounter between what can only be described as like cat people or like cat man or like, like feline cryptids or whatever you want to call it at that point, and like park rangers and stuff where they had to like shoot their way out of the place. And these things were like moving like crazy fast, and they were like obviously like humanoid, like human cat hybrids basically. So, which kind of brings me to the point of like, I believe our government's doing experimentation is what it is, dude. Like whether like it's not even Area 51 at this point, it'd be just like other black ops sites and stuff that have these things in them is what it is there. And then maybe they're like releasing them a few at a time or something like that. Or they're just like creating like entire families of these things or something like that and just like put them out in the world and stuff like that to see what happens and stuff. And it also makes a lot of sense why you'd be having the governments of various states that are introducing these big game animals like elk and stuff into the wilderness and then telling people, oh, you can't hunt these things now is what it is. And it's like, why not? What are you trying to feed out there now is what it is. And now, of course, we know about the LBL and stuff like that and how land between the lakes you have, it's like the north side and the south side. You have like one of the, I forget which one is which, but basically you have, on the one side, it is like a bunch of it's a bunch of Bigfoot cryptid territory. And on the other side, on like the bottom part or whatever, it's like a bunch of dogman territory and stuff like that. And you have like encounters between the two of them, obviously, all the time. There's what it is. So that's one place I would like to visit sometime, would be the land between the lakes down in Kentucky, Tennessee area there and stuff like that. But the thing of that is I would want to take people with me, and I would want us all to be heavily armed at that point, to where if we're going to do, whether it be an afternoon, evening scout, or whether it be like an actual night scout, it would be something where we never go like more than like, I would say maybe 15 yards, if even that, from the vehicles, if it would be like nighttime or whatever. And that way we could actually, run like the 30, 40 feet, whatever it be, back to the vehicles, get the fuck out and like be ready to roll out basically as soon as possible then, in case something does try to come after us then. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be in a situation where I pretty much have to run for my life as what it is there. But at the same time, I would like to go, just to see these places basically. Because I know there are like some weird, like creepy things around there and stuff like that. Like there's like a doll village that apparently like keeps maneuvering itself and stuff. So who the fuck knows what's going on there is what it is. Could be ghost activity, could be, some weird like possessed dolls or something like that, or even just, like gnomes or something for that matter there. And by that I mean like, like the kind of like a garden gnome kind of thing or whatever, but it's like an actual like little like gnome creature basically. Because that's the thing, like I believe truthfully when it comes to like stuff like Magic the Gathering, like that's not just things you make up on your own, like different, elves and dwarves and stuff like that. Like that's actual folklore in a lot of cases is what it is there. And like a lot of folklore is from things that actually happened in the past is what it is for people and stuff like that. Centuries ago is what it is there. So yeah, like the folklore, the mythology, whatever you call it there, all of that stuff is real, man. And people need to wake up to that fact that, we're not, like, humans are not the only creatures out there. Like, there's other stuff out there too, man. And it would make sense, like, what some of these cryptic guys do and how they've, looked into this stuff and how you have, like, underground tunnels, like, throughout the entirety of the country, basically, from, like, Maine all the way to, like, Oregon and Washington State and stuff like that. Like, you can't tell me that there's not, like, underground areas where these creatures are sleeping and stuff like that. And that's why they are able to not be seen. Because I've said that before, honestly. I believe there's, like, all you gotta do is go into, like, a cave entrance or something like that, and you can basically have, like, a wall that they know exactly where to, like, push or pull back or whatever it is there. And it's basically just a little secret entrance for them to get into is what it is then. And they just simply go on, like, a flight of stairs or something like that, and they're just down further on is what it is then. And that would make sense why you don't see, Bigfoot or Dogman anytime. They don't want you to see them, what it is there. Or even the rest of these ferals and different cryptids and felines and stuff like that, what it is there. Of like different hybrids and things. So, and then when you obviously bring in U.S. government, potential involvement too on that whole thing of like the creation of some of these, chimeras and stuff like that, what it is there, it makes a lot more sense, honestly. And I believe truthfully, like that's one thing that we will see in our lifetime right now is like the disclosure of these animal-human hybrids that our government's been creating for like decades now is what it is. And that might be what we're seeing right now in some of these places. Or when you have a handful of park rangers being attacked by like some cat people or whatever it is there, that they're actually like some hybrid creature that was created in some government lab someplace, whatever the case be. So that is one thing I always thought was interesting when it came to the Batman Beyond series was it was the different villains that he would fight in that show. And I believe there was like 3 or 4 episodes where they had these people called splicers. And it was basically a bunch of teenagers that would go to like these clinics or whatever, and they would splice like various animal DNA into their systems is what it is. And like you had people that had like cat eyes then, and they were able to like see in the dark and stuff. Or they had like enhanced hearing from like some other animal, or it was like an owl or something like that, what it wasn't or something. And yeah, it was pretty cool, honestly. But like at the same time, like then you're kind of affronting to God is what it is at that point, because you're changing your human DNA into like something weird hybrid is what it is there. So, but anyway, like I said, though, it's a little after 1 a.m. right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it call it a day right now, because I don't want to. I'm also trying to talk a little or two for that matter, because I don't want to wake my neighbors if they're most likely sleeping is what it is right now. I can only be that dick is what it is, which that's another reason why I kind of want to find a different place. Obviously, that wall would be more soundproof as what it is there. I'm gonna worry about my voice and how low or high this is what it is there. So, but anyway, that's been it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I will see you all on the next one. As far as I'm aware right now, we're gonna do Freedom Friday and Slicey Boy Saturday this week. And I'm not sure if I'll do anything else here. Today being Wednesday now, or tomorrow being Thursday then. I'm not sure if I'll do anything in either one of these days then. I might just wait until Friday to do a stream. That's what it'll be. Unless something crazy kicks off, like, another, where it's something like how Charlie Kirk was assassinated out of nowhere. It could be something like that, honestly, where you have like some other person come out and they, get dropped to by some other left-wing nut jobs or whatever it is there. So, and then of course I'll do like a breaking news stream on that one if that'd be the case then. But other than that, I can't really think of anything else that I would want to, do a stream about if that'd be the case then, unless I just feel like doing another Grandstand or something on something else than what it is then. So, which it might be later today, it might be tomorrow, who knows? But other than that, unless it's like something I think about and I just want to do something or whatever, yeah, most likely it would be Freedom Friday would be the next stream then on the channel, and then we'd have our knife stream on Saturday is what it is then for Slicey Boy Saturday. Number 4 is what it is then. So I actually got in a knife case to put on my folders in now, and I'll tell you right now, like the one I bought, I probably should have bought a different one. Honestly, paid a little bit more money for it, because these ones are like, they have like little things in them there that are like stretchy material and stuff to like put them through is what it is. And in reality, I should have got like a big box thing that you could just like stick them down into. Then is what it is. The problem with those ones is, from my understanding, those kind are like almost $50 a piece or more, and they only hold like 20-ish knives or something. Whereas the one I got, it holds 66 knives, I believe is what it is, and it was only like $30-something. But again, the problem is like the way it's layered and stuff like that. It gets very heavy very quickly, is what it is there. So it's like probably like, I would guess with the amount of knives it has in it right now, it's probably got at least like 20-25 pounds in it anyway. So it's pretty heavy to like pull up, and I'm afraid it's probably gonna bust the thing at some point. So I need to figure out a way to like see if I can like add a like loop system that I can like put it around my shoulder or something like that then, because I don't think there's one on there yet. But I don't know, I might just have to take some knives out of there is what it is. Because again, like I said, when you actually have them like pushed in there and stuff, it's kind of like you can get the first 2 on either side of the like hard case is what it is, because it basically has like 3 rows you can put them in there of like I think it's like 4 a piece or something then, and you can get like the first 8 in pretty easily, but then it's like that last 4 is like really hard to get in there is what it is. So unless maybe you'd have to like I don't know, like maybe I have to do like real small ones in the middle or something like that. But the problem is like all the knives I have are pretty much like the same length as what it is, which is about give or take like that big or so. When they're completely folded down, maybe like that long, I guess actually. But yeah, they're all pretty much the same length, except for like a couple of small ones, like the little OTF. And I forgot the other day, which I finally got the scalpel blade put on that thing, and I'll tell you what, I'm glad I'm trying to fool with that with my bare hands. Is what it is, because I needed to literally have a pair of pliers to like pull that down into place because it was like not going in at all. And I would have definitely like probably sliced through my finger if that were the case, but I tried to do it with my bare hands then. So, which that's one thing I don't like about that is the fact that you have those being sold without a blade already in them is what it is, which I think the reason that they're doing that obviously is because some of these companies are out of China is what it is there, and because of like international laws or whatever for shipping and stuff, they can't technically ship like an OTF knife like that with an actual blade attachment already on is what it is there. So they basically have like that little like hold piece or whatever, and then they'll just give you a bunch of razor blades, or I guess it's like it's not razor blades, it'd be scalpel blades. They're like 24s, if I'm not mistaken, for the scalpel blade size or whatever it is there. And yeah, it's just crazy. And I ended up having a bag of candy that went with that scalpel blade, and I'll tell you what, dude, like I can understand why those are as sharp as they are, because yeah, you could easily like just like slice through pretty much anything with that scalpel blade. Like it's freaking butter basically, like especially something thin like that. So I could definitely see having that potentially in medical supply, like having like an actual like OTF knife like that with that scalpel blade in there is what it is, and just having like extra scalpel blades with the two then as part of like a medical kit or something like that. Because you know, if you're in a position like a grid down or whatever the case be, where you got to go somebody like emergency tracheotomy or something like that, you're gonna need something like that, obviously, to like, you know, slice their like the tip of their neck basically is what it is there, and like shove a little like straw or something through is what it is then. So I was talking to my sister about that even when we were talking earlier today, or yesterday, I should say. I was like, yeah, if you had somebody that was like, you know, dying of like allergic reaction or whatever the case be, and the same was like a tracheotomy or whatever the case be, like, yeah, you're gonna need to have that kind of thing on you, whatever the case be. And I told her, I was like, hopefully there'd be somebody with medical knowledge around me though that I could just hand it off to and have like them be like a, you know, registered nurse or a doctor or something like that. They could be the one to do the cut and stuff like that. So it's not me like trying to like, you know, cut a hole in somebody's neck or whatever and like shove something in it then or whatever then. So I mean, if it came down to a pinch, I probably would, obviously, just because I'm not gonna let somebody just like, you know, suffocate to death or whatever in front of me. If I have the ability to, you know, save their life, I'm gonna try to, obviously. Now, granted, that could obviously backfire on you too, because if you would be the person that did that, and God forbid, you know, you fuck it up or whatever, then if they survive, they might try to sue you or something later on. That's what it is. So you're, you know, taking a risk there is what it is. But I don't know. It'd be nice to be a hero if that be the case, then, you know. But anyway. But yeah, that being said, though, like I said, it's after 1 a.m. right now, and I'm gonna call it a day right now because I'm getting pretty tired, and I need to turn the fan on basically because it's kind of hot in here now. Is what it is. For some reason, you would think being like mid-September it should be kind of cool now, but no, it's becoming like summertime again. Here's what it is in like the 70s and 80s and stuff in the last few days now. So, I mean, knowing this crazy weather the way it is right now, it'll probably be friggin' snow in 2 months or something like that, and like the next day it'll be like sunshine for like 3 days in a row or something then, in like mid-November or December or whatever then. So that's also a reason why I don't really want to move out here from April 1st is what it is, because like I was telling my sister, like, you know, God forbid there is a snowstorm or something that happens like the 30th, 31st or whatever the case be. Now I'm just snowbound here is what it is then, to where I pretty much have to like sign up for like either month to month or whatever the case be then is what it is. So, and I think honestly, like if it would be like May 1st or whatever the case be, it'd be a lot better, because then there'd be a lot more options open at that time or whatever then. So And of course, I at this point can't afford to get two places that is there where I can move out here like February or March, whatever the case be, and still have to pay for this place for another month or something. Then on top of having to get another place as it is then, so yeah, it's just a whole hullabaloo at this point. But I definitely need to find a different place. That's what it is because. I need to figure out how to get rid of a lot of the stuff I have here right now and start to sell it off, obviously. And I can't really do that because of the amount of space here, what it is, right? Because my sister and I were talking about that, like, oh, have you gone through totes and stuff recently? And I'm like, not really. And it's because I don't have any space to do that, obviously. Like, I got like 3 feet in front of me at this point now, is what it is. And like, I can basically move a tote in front of me, but then it's like, I have no room to move another tote. So I just throw stuff into that tote to like sale or keep or whatever it is then. So yeah, it's really a pain in the ass is what it is. So unfortunately, I kind of need to find a slightly bigger place and keep a lot of this stuff right now and move that into it then to where I can then, like I said, move a bunch of the totes and stuff like that and then basically sell off the entire tote of stuff to somebody who is there. But I'm going to try to go through a couple of these hopefully in the next week or so because I want to get enough stuff together before November to where I could potentially give my cousin and then be like, hey, here's all the Tupperware stuff I'm not going to use ever again. It's all, brand new things in the box, basically. Like, sell it for what you can, basically, to some people that want it. And then just try to make a few bucks there is what it is, paid towards rent or something in the future is what it would be then. So, but anyway, I'm obviously not going to sell it for like pennies on the dollar. I want to get what it's worth. Obviously, I'm pretty close to it. That'd be the case then. But if I have to sell it at a loss at this point, like it's already been bought. So whatever I can get out of it really is what I can get out of it. Then is what it is. So it is what it is. But yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much where I'm at for the day. That's what it is. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. Like I said, it's really weird to, about 20 hours ago, have like random people walking, or 22 hours ago almost now is what it is, having like random people walking outside like that and just, yeah, it's just like whatever then. I'm also kind of wondering like why I keep hearing cicadas outside right now is what it is, or like the crickets and stuff. And I thought about it more and more now, and I think maybe it's because the noise, I thought for a minute it was coming through the window itself somehow because they're like shitty windows or whatever. But now I think it might be from the actual AC unit area there. Like it's because it goes like it's just so much like uninterrupted noise there is what it is, which before we get into the one thing I do need to do over there right now is get rid of some of the stuff in these boxes. Here's what it is, so I can actually get rid of some of these boxes too for that matter. And so that way I can get to that AC unit so I can actually put like a thing over it for the time being that I'm here. Obviously, because I'm not using it ever is what it is. And I really want to get like something over that thing is what it is then, because that way we can have like I don't care, like just like put up like a, what I'm thinking I was just taking like an old sheet or something like that and just like putting it across the whole thing and then just like duct taping it in place until I move out of here is what it'd be then, because that way it would be a way to keep a lot of the airflow out from the outside, and then obviously keep the heat in when the winter time does come is what it is there, because I don't want to have it be jacking up my heat and then having it obviously shoot out there is what it is, when I could easily just have like something over that to prevent like any airflow from coming in is what it is then, and making this place like much more comfortable for myself as what it is then. So, and not having my electric bill go crazy come wintertime or whatever then. So anyway, I really don't like how they built that into the walls what it is there. I think they could have done a better job obviously, but yeah, anyway, it is what it is, man. I would have done it differently personally, but that's just me. So I probably would have done it like up in the upper part of the ceiling area there or something like that, or at least like like adult height level, basically, not on the freaking ground, basically there, where you'd have like random insects crawl through the damn thing and stuff. So anyway. But yeah, that's what I'm at for the day. I hope you guys, like I said, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will be back probably Friday afternoon. I'm thinking maybe Friday evening, depending. With Freedom Friday, and like I said, unless anything like major happens, like like unless like Bonnie gets ousted as AG and Matt Gaetz replaces her ass or something like that, and that's like breaking news. Like I do a stream on that obviously, but like other than that, or like other than like some people going on a college campus and trying to speak like Charlie Kirk was and getting unfortunately like Merc 2 or whatever, then but there's no reason to do any streams between now and Friday is what it is now. Although I guess if they actually arrest that piece of shit Stephen Bonnell, aka Destiny, on terrorism charges that he's arrested right now, maybe his son Piper too for that matter, like that would be an obviously stream to make, so it is. If it was like happening the next couple days, here's what it'd be. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, like any news stuff will just be on Friday is what it is. Then with the Freedom Friday stream. And then, of course, like I said, we just do our knife stream from Saturday afternoon is what it is then. And then maybe do another slicey board on Sunday. I'm not sure yet. If I do another one of those, I might just do if I do Saturday and Sunday both for those streams. It depends on what I'll actually do for Sunday. Like I know Saturday is probably going to be I'm thinking Saturday is going to be that OTF knife I got, and showing how much different the scalpel is compared to like actual blades that are sharpened up and stuff like that. And then we'll go over like maybe like different blade steels during that stream too. I'm not sure. Or no, didn't I say I was going to do the? That's what I said. Yeah, I was going to do the sharpeners. What it was then? That Sharple sharpener that I got. So that'll probably be like most likely Saturday stream will be like the OTF scalpel blade, and then it'll be that actual sharpener I got. That's what it is, and showing how like easy it is to sharpen stuff with that one is what it is then. So, and then like I said, Sunday I'm not sure. Maybe we just do like another multi-tool stream or something like that then. So, or some other like related content like that or whatever it is then. So, but anyway, other than that, though, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you all on the next one. Peace out. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. Always know your exits. Always be situation aware. Never give up the fight. It's time that we create the change that should be created in this country. And by that, I mean it's time for us on the right side of history to galvanize and to take this country back to the founding, to the Bill of Rights, and do what needs to be done to make our nation a better nation based on our founding principles, and not let the corrupt criminals that are in power right now be able to win. And I don't care if they're left, right, or center for that matter. Like, now is the time to get in the fight politically. Now is the time to deal with these people that actually are leftist terrorists, arrest them on these terrorist charges, conspiracy, etc., and do what needs to be done to quell the violence of this country right now is what it is before the 2026 midterms, because God forbid that more political assassinations were to happen because of these goddamn leftist lunatics is what it is. And yeah, it's just a powder cake waiting to happen. I know is what it is right now, dude. And unfortunately, if something is not done very soon, really, I'm going to say like nobody should be doing anything on college campuses anymore right now when it comes to these things. If nothing else, like at least outside anyway. Like if you're going to do something on a college campus as like a change my mind thing, whatever the case be, then do it inside of a fucking building, dude. Do it inside of a building. Have people get frisked by security, get wanted by security, etc. And have armed security ready to take people out of there is what it is then. Whether they be off-duty cops or your own private security team, whatever it is. Like, if people are going to disrupt the event, like, yank them the fuck out of what it is then, and just keep going is what it is. So, anyway. But yeah, something needs to change. And I don't know if the people that are currently in power have the actual balls to do with what it is right now. And the one thing I will disagree with Honda on, and what he said in his chat last night, was he was, because I was kind of in and out of the bathroom a couple times there is what it was. And I didn't get to hear like his entire speech, but I know when I came back the second time around that he was talking about being okay with like a little bit of government authoritarianism. Basically at this point, it's like, I'm not at this point, dude. As a true constitutionalist, I'm not okay with that stuff, because you give the government that little bit of power like that, they're going to use it and they're going to abuse the fuck out of it is what it is. And that is where he and I disagree on that one. We already have laws in the books right now. We already have terrorism laws in the books right now. We already have conspiracy laws in the books right now. We already have all these other different laws in the books right now when it comes to various crimes, 5150ing, Baker Act is what they actually call it in a lot of places too, for that matter, because it was back in the 1970s we started that stuff. And like pretty much every other law that's already in the books right now that could be used against these people is what needs to be used against these people. And that's not authoritarianism. That's restoring law and order in this country to stop this country from having an actual civil war again is what it is then. And if that's what needs to be done to stop that in its tracks, then yes, the people in power need to get off their fucking asses and do that stuff. And really it starts by either calling out the Democrat Party at this point completely and being like, disavow all this shit right the fuck now, or you're being arrested out of office for high fucking treason is what it is. Which honestly, if I was in Trump's position right now, I wouldn't even give him that fucking opportunity to do that shit, dude, because some of these motherfuckers from Cory Booker to Ilhan Omar to Rashad Tlaib to Ariana Presley to AOC, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, etc., they have done so much of this fucking shit over the last decade now, dude. Maxine Waters is another great example. So is Chuck Schumer, for that matter. They have incited so much violence in this country politically. They should have already been arrested for high treason and been in federal prison right now for the rest of their fucking worthless lives, honestly. And like I said, if that's what it takes to fix this country is just arresting these cocksuckers out of office right now, dude, then fucking do it. Like Jasmine Crockett is a big ass example of that one more recently. Like she talks to both sides of her fucking mouth and her ass at that point because like less than a week ago when Charlie's assassination happened, or actually I guess maybe a week to this today is what it is now. You had her come out and be like, oh, the right wing needs to turn down the political rhetoric, whatever the case be, and then literally like a couple of days later goes on some MSNBC show, I think it was Tiffany Cross or something like that, where she's actively calling for war against the right. You have Tiffany Cross, the host, I believe was who it was at the time, talked about left picking up weapons and stuff like that. And you have Crockett just being like, and it's like, no, you need to be that right there is what we need automatic disqualification every single seat of power in this country right now, because that alone should have seen Crockett immediately removed from office for life as what it is then, dude. She should have literally been told on air at that point. You should have had Trump or somebody else call up and be like, nah, bitch, you're out of fucking Congress. Go fuck yourself. And you're probably going to be arrested in this country and put the fuck out for the matter, too, for that. On top of everything else, then. For what you just said right now. And if we actually did stuff like that to hold these people to account, you would have a lot more than just shut the fuck up is what it is and just do their fucking job. So, anyway. But that's the problem, is they want to make themselves these retarded versions of celebrities when they're fucking politicians, legitimately, dude. Like, you're not a fucking celebrity. You're just some stupid fucking cunt who either got elected into office by a bunch of dumb motherfuckers or you stole political office is what it is, depending on the state, obviously, there. So, but yeah, you kick the fuck out of office, is completely is what it is there, dude. And, of course, you got fuckface Tim Walz in the last 24 hours here, basically talking about running for re-election there in Minnesota, which I thought he was termed out, though. Unless Minnesota doesn't have term limits or whatever then. So, but yeah, Minnesota needs to boot his fucking ass out of the governor's office right now is what it is, dude. Same thing with Peggy Buttigieg for lieutenant governor's office. And get brand new people in there is what it is. Like 2020, like truthfully, like 2026 needs to be the turning point of this country's history where the Democrat Party holds no power at all after that, dude. Like there needs to be like such a red tsunami that happens in the midterms of good constitutionalists and like pro Bill of Rights people and stuff like that getting in office, that there is just never a fucking Democrat ever in power again as what it is in this country. And the Democrat Party literally dies in 2026 by just being ousted completely from the political spectrum as what it is there. Just to be clear, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not, nothing else besides that is what it is, basically. I'm talking about legitimately just like the party, like, because the party, like, people were already doing like the little gravestone is what it is, where it's like Democrat Party, like X number of years or whatever to like 2025 or whatever it is there, because of, the leftist killing Charlie Kirk is what it is there. And that's what I'm saying, like, the Democrat Party needs to be gone from the political spectrum is what it is now, dude. And if it's replaced by something else, cool, replace it with actual communists at that point, for God's sakes, because fucking people are what it is then, dude, for real. But like I said, if we were truly a just society right now, if we were truly a true constitutional republic right now, it would not be a two-party system. It would be legitimately about 40 to 50 different parties in power right now, especially at federal level. You'd probably have maybe 3 at most of any political party in power right now. Not, 50 Republicans, 50 Democrats in the U.S. Senate. It would be like 3 or 4 of each of those in the U.S. Senate, and then it would be like 46 other people on each political side, what it is then. Or it would be like a couple independents, a couple Constitution Party, a couple Democrat Socialist, or whatever the case be, or just Socialist or Communist, or whatever the case be, and then, Anarchist Party, and then, like Freedom Party, whatever you want to call it at that point, et cetera, dude. So, but yeah, there would be like at least a couple dozen political parties in power right now is what it is. And that's what I want to see personally for the future of this country, and have us be a true constitutional republic again where, political affiliation doesn't matter. It's just, people are doing their thing and creating new parties every day is what it is there. So that align with their true values is what it is at the end of the day. So anyway, but yeah, like I said, truthfully, if we wanted to have this country get fixed, it starts by whether it be Pam Bondi stepping down and somebody else becoming AG, or whether it be Bondi just shutting her mouth and doing her job as Attorney General and start prosecuting these leftist terrorists for the terrorism they're espousing is what it is right now, and actually enact laws that are already in the books as what it is there to charge these people with that stuff. Because that's the thing, no new legislation needs to be created at all, dude. Like, you can just use like stuff that's been on the books since the founding of this fucking country is what it is there, and go from there. And we could be better off as a country than after the fact with these people in prison. That's what it is. And there would have to be no retaliations at all. There would have to be nothing at that point. You could simply just have them arrested as the terrorists that they are is what it is. You could have Trump actually declaring Antifa, BLM, Moms Demand Action, Students Demand Action, Every Town, Giffords, etc. as the terrorist orgs that they've been forever is what it is there, and shut them the fuck down like that is what it is, as the conspirators and stuff like that, a lot of this stuff. And the reason I bring up, obviously, all the anti-gun groups like Every Town and everything else like that is because if it wasn't for these fucking piece of shit cunts going into state houses, being funded by Michael Bloomberg and Gary Giffords, etc. there, to enact these gun control laws, to put them on the books there, you would not have these gun-free kill zones to begin with, where these massacres are able to occur, and because of these fucking people. And yes, they need to be held criminally liable as it is now. They need to be held criminally liable. The schools that are creating the gun-free zones need to be held criminally liable. Everybody involved right there, whether it be school administrators, whether it be principals, whether it be school districts, whether it be superintendents, whether it be these Mom Demand Action types, whether it be these Bloomberg types, etc., that are funding all this anti-gun legislation. They all need to be charged criminally is what it is. They all need to be charged criminally. They all need to be sued in the fucking ground for everything they have is what it is, dude. And that's how you enact real change in this country, honestly. That's as simple as that, literally. So, anyway. So later, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out, stay safe, all that good stuff. And I'll see y'all on Freedom Friday. Later.